pre-owned vehicles. I've earned a Cadillac. If you have too, then come in today to experience the Signer difference.
Hi friends, Dan the Laptop Man here from PC Laptops. I get a lot of emails from people all the time. Here's one. Dear Dan, I hear your talk about a lifetime service guarantee. Free? Really? Please help me avoid all your fine print and be honest about what free means. You understand that we should be very wary of a free offer. Signed, Skeptical. Hi, Skeptical. I remember 22 years ago when we started PC Laptops and our lifetime service guarantee, people thought it was too good to be true. Well, after a decade, people started believing me a little bit. But it's been 22 years of having the privilege to serve our friends and neighbors like you. Our lifetime service guarantee has become the most trusted warranty in the industry. You can get a brand new PC Laptops desktop computer, and they start at only $29 a month. Check us out at PCLaptops.com. That's PCLaptops.com. Here's to seeing you soon, Skeptical.
I just elevated my checking account with Utah Community Credit Union. Tim, I'm so blown away at what I get with my elevated checking account at UCCU. I get so many benefits. I get cell phone protection and roadside assistance. The one that blows me away the most is telehealth. I actually get zero copay telehealth with my checking account from UCCU.
Did you know you also get a 0.25% loan discount? It's one of the many things. And if you like to travel or you're on the road quite a bit, a free ATM nationwide, 30,000 ATM locations that you can use while you're out.
Utah basketball star Walker Kessler and Utah Community Credit Union have come together to announce this brand new elevated checking account with more benefits, more savings, more online protections than ever before.
Yeah, there's even something for dark web monitoring, which I have never heard of before, but you can find out more by just going to uccu.com.
And open an elevated checking account online or stop by any branch.
UCCU, you're going to love where you bank.
This song doesn't have a name, but if it did, it'd probably be something about togetherness, because it's a collaboration, not between pop stars and producers, but between music therapists and kids. Music therapy is a treatment that doesn't involve medication or needles, and it's been proven to help children manage pain and contribute to faster healing. So it shouldn't surprise you, it's our favorite song. And just one way we partner with you for a life well lived. Intermountain Health, the power of we.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Heather Kelly.
Well, we've got a crash in West Jordan. This is right at the intersection of Redwood Road and 7800 South. Now, it's mostly affecting northbound drivers on Redwood. You've got a couple of left lanes blocked there. And then if you're westbound on 7800 South, you've got other vehicles over on the right shoulder. So we've got like 5 or 6 vehicles involved in this crash. So there is significant delays in all directions at that intersection. But everybody else across the Wasatch Front is traveling nicely right now. Big O Tires is your one-stop shop for tires and service. Now through March 17th, buy 3, get 1 free on select sets of tires. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
We're going to have just a beautiful weekend. Today's high will be on the chilly side, 43 degrees, up to 53 tomorrow and more sun. Lots of sun on Sunday and 60 degrees. That's our warmest day for the next 7. And then another storm moves in on Monday. But right now, it is 28 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Hi, it's Andy Farnsworth with a reminder about the new KSL movie show. Listen right after Dave and Dujanovic for Me and Steve Sales. We'll tell you about the week's biggest movies starting at 11 on KSL News Radio.
It's finally Friday, and this is Dave and Dujanovic. Conversation and insights on the stories Utahns care about most. It's Friday on KSL News Radio.
Well, it looks like President Biden is hitting the road after last night's campaign speech in front of Congress.
Yeah, there's...
You didn't get my joke there. His campaign speech in front of Congress last night.
You know what? The fact was, is it resonated. It was so true. I almost said, you know what, Deb? That's a great point. I didn't take it as a joke because that's exactly what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a campaign.
Sorry, I missed that.
No, it's okay.
It's a Friday. Please, I'm not quite as sharp as I was. That's a Monday speech. That's a Monday joke.
Like the president's speech, my jokes go over like a lead balloon. So.
Oh, man, that's so true. All right. we've got to talk about the State of the Union. It's 9:07. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are 3 things Debbie wants you to know.
Countdown. 3.
Well, just about 30 minutes from now, we're going to stay local. We're going to talk about this crackdown that's on the horizon in Salt Lake City for homeowners who convert their homes into nightly rentals, like Airbnbs and VRBOs. City Council, Dave, deciding to fund a software program that'll sweep the internet for short-term rentals that are on there illegally. Okay? I mean, maybe they're not on the site illegally, but they're being operated illegally in neighborhoods. New York City is already doing this with the goal of stopping the illegal practice, and they're winning at it. It may also force the sale of rental properties. And in New York, like in Utah, home supply is short for buyers.
I don't have the data to prove this, but if I'm just guessing about all the places in my neighborhood that are renting out maybe a basement apartment or, a little mother-in-law spot to VRBO or Airbnb, there's not one of them that is in compliance. It's all shady stuff, and I don't think we're unique. I do not think we're unique. I think this could absolutely devastate the Airbnb market, the VRBO, because nobody wants to jump through 5,000 hoops to earn $87 a night.
Countdown to
10:20 this morning. We're going to go right on the money with KSL5 Television's Matt Gephardt. He's been breaking down why your annual payments for your auto insurance have doubled. And the reasons that he found, some of them, we may have already heard some of these, but he found some that are really, really surprising to me. We're also going to ask him, what can we do about this? That's in the 10 o'clock hour, Dave.
Are any of them greed? Because that's kind of how it feels right now. Like a little greedy. I understand you got to pay for Florida every 5 minutes because their hurricane came in or a huge hailstorm.
I thought you meant they were on the beach in Florida, and so with our insurance premiums. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, listen, I live in Utah. We don't have natural disasters, so we're paying for everybody else's. That's what it feels like to me.
Launch countdown 1.
Look, the timing was so perfect for President Biden's State of the Union address last night. It came just days after Nikki Haley drops out of the Republican race. And so it really was a chance for him to capture at least some of her Republican base, which is what she challenged President Biden to do when she backed out of the race. President Trump to do. So here's President Biden in front of the nation, has a moment to do that. Well, he misses that mark. He missed the mark entirely. And so did the joke he launched with.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
Good evening. If I were smart, I'd go home now.
Oh man. First of all, can we just agree, politicians? You're not Brian Regan. You're not Jim Gaffigan. You can't deliver a line. You might be hilarious at parties. Maybe you're a hoot. You're the life of the party and you're hilarious. You can't deliver a funny line that a staffer wrote for you. And I thought, there's this moment of levity. Is this going to be like kumbaya, bring some love into this? Nope. He immediately turns it into a fairly aggressive State of the Union speech.
Dave and Dujanovic.
The launch.
Commence.
It almost immediately starts talking about former President Trump. I'm like, stop talking about him. Don't even go down that road. This is your time. This is your speech. But it didn't take him long.
Now my predecessor, a former Republican president, tells Putin, quote, do whatever the hell you want. That's a quote.
He referenced Trump 13 times in this speech, except, he didn't say Trump's name. Apparently he's Lord Voldemort and you can't say his name. He just called him my predecessor, my predecessor, my predecessor. Now, when you're in a relationship, in a kind of a rocky relationship at that, you don't bring up your ex. There's no benefit to that. That's what happens every time he brings up Trump. He's bringing up his ex. Like, stop bringing up that guy. You're 3.5 years into your term. Stop it.
Before we go in depth on the problems with the speech, there was this good line. He was talking about January 6th, and he delivered what I thought was the strongest line of his entire speech.
Just like history watched 3 years ago on January 6th. Many of you were here on that darkest of days. We all saw with our own eyes the insurrectionists were not patriots. They'd come to stop the peaceful transfer of power, to overturn the will of the people. This is the moment to speak the truth and to bury the lies. You can't love your country only when you win.
That was one of the best lines I've ever heard Joe Biden give. You can't only love your country when you win.
Mm-hmm.
That resonated with me.
Me too. That was the only line in the speech that really did. It stuck with me. I actually thought, there's been many times when somebody is serving our country, and I don't particularly care for that person as president, but I've never fallen out of love with my country. And I felt like on January 6th, it was just an assault on the American people. And I always feel like with presidential elections, you just have to realize that sometimes not everybody in this nation is going to agree with you. But that's the beauty of living in America. We have the opportunity to change the course or the person who's in the Oval Office in the next 4 years. And I did think that line was probably one of the best lines I've ever heard him say.
Yes, I would love, and I was kind of hoping for this in the State of the Union, that he would see Republicans in the same light, that you can't only love Republicans when they lose, right? As long as you're in power, this was an opportunity to maybe extend an olive branch. There's even some bipartisan legislation out there about securing the border. And instead of reaching across, he was contentious about it. He was condescending to Republicans. He was angry, quite honestly. So there were some real problems. Good line. He didn't back it up through the rest of the speech.
I want you to come back to that border issue and also the concerns that you had with the speech, because I've got two, at least two. I mean, we don't have hours and hours to talk about it, nor would we want to do that to y'all. But there were a couple of moments in the speech. There was one that I did agree with, but there was one I wholeheartedly thought, you're making a bunch of empty promises, very empty promises. This one came when he said he was going to subsidize home buyers to the tune of $400 a month. I thought that was such an uncool thing for him to tease young Americans who can't afford to get into homes right now, because I'm sorry, guys. If you're looking to buy a home based on what he said last night, it's just a bunch of nothing.
It's Friday with Dave and Dujanovic. I'm going away.
Utah's largest Sportsman's Expo for the entire family is back, March 21st at Mountain America Expo Center. Get discount coupons at Big O Tires and O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Visit sportsexpos.com for locations, seminar schedules, and show info. Your life outdoors at the International Sportsman's Expo, March 21st through 24th at Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy. Youth 15 and under enter free. More info at sportsexpos.com.
Utah's election mess.
We had reports of Wi-Fi problems. People weren't able to pre-register. People being turned away.
The Republican Party struggles to explain what happened.
This claim, the technical difficulties, was due to high turnout. Simply not true.
And why.
What you get with thousands of polling locations run by volunteers.
If the county clerk ran their voting like we just experienced yesterday, they'd all be fired.
Your Voice, Your Vote 2024. All this week on KSL News Radio.
Les Olson IT has the office technology you need to take your business to the next level. Protect your business with state-of-the-art security cameras, sensors, alarms, and access control protocols. Get peace of mind with cybersecurity from our elite IT services team. Reach the next level of productivity, security, and success with Les Olson IT. Learn more at lesolson.com.
One of the best ways to find out about 3-Day Kitchen and Bath is actually to hear the results for yourself. On the phone with us is Wendy in Darwin. Wendy, you got a brand new bathroom.
I do, and it's beautiful.
Are you loving it?
I am absolutely loving it.
Okay, tell me about your bathroom.
It went from a dark room that felt like an absolute cave when I walked into it to a bright, airy, opened the space up. I mean, I don't know what else. It's just absolutely wonderful.
She's almost speechless. So, Darwin, tell me about all the man stuff. How did it work? The quality, the convenience. How did they do?
Excellent. We contacted 3-Day Bath, and they got back to us the next day. The communication was excellent. They were on time in all their promises, and it's beautiful. It's a great bathroom.
Would you do it again?
Oh, absolutely.
For more about your new kitchen or bath, visit 3daykitchenutah.com.
3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Hey, Joe Montana here. Back in my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia, a bacterial lung disease that can be life-threatening. If you're 65 or older or 19 or older with certain chronic conditions like diabetes or asthma, you're at increased risk. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist about vaccination and learn more at knowpneumonia.com. That's KNOW pneumonia.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Planning for spring at Lowe's means big savings on outdoor power equipment, and Lowe's knows nothing feels better than free. Buy one select Ego string trimmer, leaf blower, or mower kit. Get one select 56-volt battery free. That's up to a $299 value. Power through spring with Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 4/3 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. Listen, we're fiduciaries. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. Now, imagine how that would be if you could actually retire 3 to 5 years sooner than your plan was. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan, taking into consideration any rental properties that you have, any pension income that you have, your Social Security. Listen, we put that all together for you in writing. It will allow us to build your income based on inflation. You know, inflation has been rapidly rising. You and I both need a plan that whatever we start out our income at, in 5 or 10 years, we're going to need 40% more income. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Travel back to the magical world of ancient China with Shen Yu and enjoy the incredible art of classical Chinese dance. Performances on March 20th and March 24th at Eccles Theater. Reserve your tickets today.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Amanda Dixon. First, we are on the scene of a large police presence just off the Bangerter Highway along the Bluffdale-Riverton border. Officials so far have not told us what is happening there. Second, Utahns say they feel less confident in their finances. Consumer confidence dropped 1.3% over the last month. And third, don't forget to turn your clocks forward 1 hour Saturday night as we head into daylight saving time. Right now, it's 28 degrees in Salt Lake City. Back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
David Dujanovic.
Dave, there's a point during the president's speech that I agreed with him, and that was on the funding for Ukraine. And Congress has had a hard time getting to that point, and a lot of folks don't agree with continuing to fund Ukraine and its war against Russia. But I think there's a lot of validity to it. And as I was sitting there listening to him, I was thinking of all the Utah military families who are currently serving right now. And, if Putin and his army capture Ukraine, and then the NATO countries that surround Ukraine, we've got Poland, we've got Hungary, we've got Romania, and they're part of NATO. And the NATO treaty says, an armed attack against one is an armed attack against all, and we're part of that. So we got to stop. We've got to help Ukraine without putting boots on the ground in Ukraine from, getting taken over by Putin. And here's what the president said about that.
Is that freedom and democracy are under attack both at home and overseas at the very same time. Overseas, Putin of Russia is on the march, invading Ukraine and sowing chaos throughout Europe and beyond. If anybody in this room thinks Putin will stop at Ukraine, I assure you he will not.
Yeah, this Ukrainian support has dwindled, especially over the last several months, to the point where originally it was, we'll support Ukraine if you secure the border. And then a border bill popped up and Republicans were, still not, the border bill isn't good enough and we're still not going to fund Ukraine.
So that was about the only thing that resonated with me in the president's speech, maybe a couple of lines here or there, the one-liners, but I think that's really, really important. And I do worry about, like I said, our military families here in Utah and across the nation. And, if Putin takes Ukraine and keeps on the march and he goes into the NATO countries, then what? We want to send our troops over there? Because then we are at war. Now we're in World War III. So it's just a stop and think about the consequences of not continuing to fund Ukraine in their efforts to stand their ground against Russia. Think about that. I mean, the consequences are far and wide. They're deep. They affect families here at home. They affect our entire world. They affect the global economy. And there's so many consequences. The one part that I totally felt of his speech was just a bunch of nothing and just an empty, hollow promise was the part where he was talking about subsidizing, new home buyers and then giving tax credits or whatever, a tax break or $400 a month, whatever it was, to families who'd sell their homes. Because we know we're in a housing crunch right now, and there's so many young families out there that can't afford to buy a home. That I just, there's no way you can afford that. We can't afford this. We're broke as a nation.
I know the cost of housing is so important to you. If inflation keeps coming down, mortgage rates will come down as well, and the Fed acknowledges that. But I'm not waiting. I want to provide an annual tax credit that will give Americans $400 a month for the next 2 years as mortgage rates come down, to put toward their mortgages when they buy their first home or trade up for a little more space.
So we're going to get some more government support. Isn't that what got us into the whole inflation crisis in the first place, was too much government support? Does $400, does that make the difference? Does that really get people into their first homes? I don't know. Debbie, it felt like one of those, hey, here's another give out, vote for me. Joining us right now is former Senate Minority Leader Scott Howell. Scott, what did you make of the speech?
Well, I probably have a different opinion than you two, just listening to you.
That's okay. That's what we caught. That's what we wanted.
That's right.
In
fairness to the president, we wanted to have you on. You're a leading Democrat in the state of Utah. You have hosted the vice president during one of her visits here, and I believe it was during the debate. So what did you make of the speech?
Well, the biggest takeaway for me was the question that's underlying everyone in the country is his stamina, his mental acuity, and his ability to relate back to the constituents. Clearly, he stood at the pulpit and he was fiery. He was full of facts and figures that he'd pulled down from the last 4 years. And I think it shows that age And he said it very best, with age comes a lot of wisdom. I remember one time Gordon B. Hinckley was being interviewed by Morley Safer, and he said to him, President Hinckley, you've got, you're like, I think it was like 87 or something like that. He quipped back and he said, yes, isn't it nice to have some experience and wisdom here leading this faith? I agree with you guys on Ukraine. I think he really sent a strong message to Putin. And what he said exactly was, we will not walk away. And I thought that was a message that needed to be sent loud and clear over the airwaves. I think January 6th, I completely agree with you guys. That was a challenging time. We all know that there are deniers that aren't believing that, and that's just not right. They're just making up information about what happened. One thing that I thought was really important was the $12 billion that he's putting in women's health. That is one of the biggest appropriations that we've ever seen in the history of our country, focusing on women's health. I know IHC is in a big campaign now to make awareness of women's health. I had no idea the number one killer of women was heart attacks, and I met with a group of IHC people that actually were back in Washington who shared that message. The other one on that housing, Deb, I'm gonna give the benefit back to the president in terms of the $400 a month. That's going to go through a tax credit. And what it is to build and renovate 2 more million affordable homes to bring down rents. And Dave, to your point, well, there's another giveaway program. But you can't have it both ways. To stimulate housing, to stimulate the economy, you have to do things to do it. As you and I all know, that he can't really control inflation. Big companies, and I love his chip analysis. In terms of what, Dave? How would you say that he could control
government spending. Absolutely. That
okay, yeah. Well,
that absolutely.
I wouldn't disagree with that. Then you have people saying, on the other hand, if you don't give me some type of tax credit or some type of break, I'll never be able to afford a house. We all write our mortgage interest off now. We could do away with that. We could go in and make we could solve a lot of our debt if we did away with that. But how many of your neighbors and friends would all of a sudden say, I can't afford a house anymore because I can't write off the mortgage? It's a fine balance.
No,
I agree with you.
Scott, I appreciate there's an argument, there's a debate to be had there. I appreciate your thoughts and your comments, but the State of the Union, I think, was very unique in the sense that, to me, it felt much more like a campaign speech with promises versus an address to Congress, bringing up your opponent that you're going to see in the next 8 months, 13 different times, talking about Trump when you've been president for over 3 years. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. But, Scott, thank you for joining us.
Straight ahead, let's go local. There's a crackdown on the horizon in Salt Lake City for homeowners who convert their homes into nightly rentals. That's right. So if you're on Airbnb or VRBO or some other website renting out your home like it's a hotel, stay tuned. If you have a neighbor who's doing this, and you hate it, stay tuned. More straight ahead on the crackdown coming from the Salt Lake City Council.
9:30 at KS on News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour is breaking news. We continue to monitor breaking news just off the Bangerter Highway near the Bluffdale-Riverton border. There are police cars there from several different agencies, and they are keeping our Adam Small at a good distance away from whatever happened.
This road, again, right on the precipice of Bangerter Highway, is 138 south between 22nd West and 1950 West. It's a small little neighborhood here on the Bluffdale-Riverton border. They've got it completely blocked off.
We'll be sure to break in once we're able to gather more information. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Biden is out on the campaign trail today, just hours after giving the State of the Union address last night. ABC News political director Rick Klein says the speech sounded a lot more like a campaign speech at a rally.
One of the concerns that Joe Biden has is just getting his base energized, getting people to believe again in his candidacy. And I think this speech, this State of the Union, is going to go a long way toward convincing them that he is the man and he is right to be running again.
Former President Trump is also out campaigning today now that he's the presumptive Republican nominee. The Utah women's basketball team was knocked out of the Pac-12 women's tournament last night, falling to UCLA. But the season is not over. The team is considered a lock to be selected in the NCAA tournament. Your money at this moment. The Dow is up 102 points right now. That's 0.25%. We're at 38,890. Coming up, a few degrees warmer over the weekend and sunshine in store for us. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
A lot of you already know that when it comes to HVAC maintenance, repair, and replacement, no one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services. And if you've been thinking about replacing your old furnace and air conditioner, this ad's for you. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and right now we're having our most popular sale of the year. Here's how it works. When you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it, about $400. The furnace is free. You just pay the labor. One of the reasons this sale is so popular, there are no gimmicks, like you have to buy our most expensive air conditioner to qualify for a free furnace. You could buy our most basic, least expensive air conditioner, and you'd still get a new furnace for just the cost to install it. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services by March 31st and schedule a free estimate. One of our HVAC supervisors will come to your home and explain everything. If you think you might be interested, call Any Hour Services today and schedule your free estimate. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
At Lowe's, pros save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save 10% when you buy 230 or more select James Hardie fiber cement siding panels. And there's more. Save 10% when you buy 9 or more select premium foam flooring underlayment. Visit us in-store or online for low prices on the materials you need. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. This is a story that came to us from a real customer, and I wanted to share it with you.
I'm a new CPAP user. The only thing I knew about CPAP when I walked in the door was that they are funny looking and I didn't want to wear one. The introductory class with the respiratory therapist at Alpine was great. I left feeling confident and less intimidated by the whole process.
We know when you walk through our doors, you deserve to be cared for. We really do have the best staff in the state. Discover the Alpine Home Medical difference. When you need assistance, we're here for you. You should know we accept most major insurances, so stop by any of our 11 locations today and explore our high-quality inventory. We love hearing about your experiences. Visit us online at alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Heather Kelly.
Well, we have some problems in West Jordan this morning. A crash on 7800 South westbound at Redwood Road. Still over on the right shoulder. Not causing as many delays in that area as it had been earlier. But as you continue west on 7800 South, you're going to run into another crash blocking the right lane and shoulder just after Grizzly Way. That's about 5100 West, and it's right near construction that's blocking the left lane. So you've got a lot of congestion in that area causing problems, but nobody else seems to be having problems this morning, especially on city streets. With IFA's Crabgrass Preventer plus Lawn Food, you'll stop those pesky weeds before they even start. It's the ultimate lawn owner power move. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
We should see a high today of 43 degrees with lots of sunshine. We'll get up to 53 tomorrow, 60 on Sunday before another storm moves in. And right now it's 32 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories.
On KSL News Radio. Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic.
Special coverage of the top local story.
You heard this story reported all morning long on Utah's Morning News by our very own Peter Johnston. It's also laid out nicely in an article I read this morning. Building Salt Lake City was the name of the website. And the headline is this: Salt Lake City bulking up its enforcement, Dave, on short-term rentals. In other words, if you are renting out your home like it's a hotel for nightly stays through Vrbo, I didn't realize it wasn't VRBO anymore, folks. Like, I was the first one through the wall on that website, and that was called VRBO back in the day. We didn't know any better, but now it's Vrbo.
It wasn't until they, finally produced a commercial. and I first heard it. There's, Vrbo this, Vrbo that. I'm like, it's not VRBO.
Okay, I'm glad it's not just a Debbie thing.
It's not just you, no.
Okay, or Airbnb. Put the brakes on. Put the brakes on or else.
Well, I think this is I'm a little torn because I've seen abuses. I've seen, times when the house or the apartment turns into a party house. And if I'm living in a neighborhood and this is what the owner is doing, is kind of has this flop house going where people are in and out.
And they're making bank on it every night?
Yeah.
Okay.
That disrupts what I signed up for when I bought my house. So I see that. I also don't like the idea of you telling me what I can and can't do with my home. I like the freedom. And most of the time, in my experience, and I've done Airbnb and Vrbo a million times, just like you have, we're super boring. We show up for a few hours, lay our head down, don't make a peep. It doesn't affect anybody. The owner makes some money. I get a great experience. So if this really does go through and cracks down, it could ruin Airbnb and Vrbo.
Yeah. I know it could. Well, I don't know if it could ruin them because in a moment we're going to talk about what New York City is doing and how Vrbo and Airbnb are working in concert with the city to crack down on illegal rentals. So that's going to come up in about 10 minutes or so because there's been a lot going on back east on this. And now it seems like the wave is heading west. So let me walk you through what the city council's decided to do in terms of a crackdown. And it's just at the beginning phases of it. So y'all who are doing this can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief, but you ought to know it's coming. It's coming. And I do think eventually what's going to happen is going to mirror what's going on in New York City. So stay tuned for more on that. But the Salt Lake City Council passed a budget and then set aside about $50,000 for this new software that the city's going to buy. And my understanding of it is right now what they're doing is they're sweeping through these different websites by, filtering through with the human eyes, and clicks. And now the software is going to be able to snag homes that are listed on these different sites as nightly rentals. So it makes it a lot easier for the city to track which homes are doing this. I don't know that they've bought the program yet, but it's going to be an annual purchase because it sounds like it's about $50,000 a year, Dave. But that's how they're going to start looking for homes. Now, it's not illegal to post your home for rent up on a website, right? I mean, that's like First Amendment protected speech. You can do what you want. The problem is when you're actually following through with it at your home, which doesn't have a business license to do this, hasn't lived up to probably any of the codes that are required for hotels or bed and breakfasts that can get a business license in the city. So when you're actually engaged in the act of collecting money every night for your property, that's when the city can then step in and do something about it. But in the meantime, if they've flagged you, they're watching.
And do they start cracking down? Do the cops show up and knock on the door and evict somebody?
So here's my experience with that. I don't know if they're going to be trolling neighborhoods. I mean, the resources are so slim anyways for patrol. I mean, that sounds so far fetched. I would say it would be more like this. You've got the flop house and the folks next door. This is just a hypothetical. I know your neighbors are awesome, but the folks next door are running their house out on a nightly basis, and you've got the flop house going and parking all over the place, and you've got people partying on the rooftop until 3 o'clock in the morning, and you give the cops a ring eating because after night 45,
you've given up.
You've given up.
Your patience is over.
And you don't want to say anything because the people on the roof are belligerent and they're drunk.
Yeah.
So it puts you in a real weird spot. And now they're heckling your kids or something like that. It's just really kind of a nasty situation. So that's when the cops show up and they shut down the party, and then they figure out from the drunk person you rented it out to that, this isn't our home, it's an Airbnb. Okay, now they're onto something.
Yeah, and then do they cite? Do they evict? Do they shut it down? What does that kind of crackdown look like? And another element to this that bothers me is how big of a problem is it in the first place? Like, how often is that scenario that you described really happening? Because there are already laws in place for late night parties, noise. There are already ordinances in place. Even if you own the home, you couldn't behave like that, and cops could show up. So do I want my city government specifically, going through and targeting every single person, spending time, money, and resources to crack down on these things? And I think it certainly benefits hotels, right? Maybe it's the hotel lobby that is pushing for this because Vrbo and Airbnb has cut into their profits too much.
So right now, our read of this is that you can't do this at all. There's no business license in the city. There's no path to do this legally. That's where we're checking with the city to see if somebody can join us there. We'll be following this story throughout the day, and as we get answers, we'll start to report that. But right now, there's no path for you to do this at all. What you can do is if you're on the property, you live there, you can rent out a room. That's not a thing. That's not even anything you need to worry about. You can rent out a room to, somebody long-term, right? A college kid, whatever, a Bees baseball player moves into town temporarily and you want to rent out your basement to him. That's not what we're talking about. But there is no path right now for business licensing that I know of for renting out your home when you are, a fair-weathered resident. You're in another state for 6 months out of the year, living the dream, where the temperatures are in the 70s, and you have your home rented out here for the ski crowd that comes into town. So I don't know that there's a path for that, and I think maybe that's where we can get to some compromise. If there's a path for that, and the city lays down some rules, some ordinances as to, how many people can actually occupy the home while you're renting it out. Is there some sort of fee that you need to pay to the cities as part of that?
Now I think you're getting somewhere.
Right.
Now I see where the city, they want their cut of it.
Well, but they've got to have a path before they take a cut. So we need to find out if there's a path to get a license for a 30-day, hotel-style rental property. Where you're turning the property over every single night and changing the bed sheets and whatever, getting somebody in there to clean the place like they do hotels. So that's the plan with Salt Lake City right now, is they're going to buy this software program that's going to sweep the internet, figure out who's doing it. And then we'll see what happens with the next step. But if you think this will be challenged in court and it won't be held up, think again. Because the city of New York was the first one through the wall. They've already been doing this. And it was figured out in court and the city won. And now Airbnb and Vrbo are on board. More on that next.
It's finally Friday.
Hey, buddy, this is private property. This is private property. This is private property.
With Dave and Dujanovic.
But you're never, ever gonna be alone here in your community neighborhood home. I just wanna be popular to watch in the movie you put on from the camera on your porch. You're across the street, neighbor walks his dog on TV.
Let me tell you, folks, for the last month or so, I've been losing some weight. Not just because I'm smart enough to start eating healthy. I had to get on a program. Salt Lake City Fat Loss is the program I joined. slcfatloss.com is the website. And they told me early on, they said, we got this secret to lose a pound of fat every day. And I thought, number one, there's no way that's true. That's just, I'm expecting big results, but a pound of fat a day, that just seems too optimistic. And sure enough, I'm 39 days in, and I'm down 40 pounds. I've lost more than a pound of fat every single day, and I feel amazing. And they've done it in a safe, natural way. No surgery, no injections, no point counting. It takes me probably 5 minutes a day to follow this program and track what I eat. But yeah, I'm not obsessing every moment of the day. That has made it so much easier. No exercising, not trying to run a marathon here, no prepackaged meals. So find out more, get a consultation with Salt Lake City Fat Loss. Go to slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
At KSL News Radio, we have a 30-year legacy of honoring Utah teachers, but we can't do it without your help. Please tell us about an important teacher in your life on the KSL Teacher Tribute Wall, presented by Cypress Credit Union. Each month, one lucky teacher wins a $500 gift card from Cypress Credit Union, a $250 gift card to Harmon's, plus season tickets to Hale Center Theater. Say thanks to your teacher today at kslnewsradio.com/teacher from Cypress Credit Union and KSL News Radio.
One of my favorite things to do on a Saturday is to go to NPS, stands for, we like to say, a nice place to save. And the reason I like to go there, Steve, is it's so fun to bargain hunt or get grocery shopping done or do both.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And my personal favorite is the industrial side because I love, tools and things like that. But I find all kinds of things over there that I wouldn't normally buy, but I see it and I'm like, I need that.
The worst is when you just bought something somewhere else and you go to NPS and you're like, oh my gosh, I could have saved a whole bunch of money if I'd have come here first. The other funny thing, Steve, is how many people tell us, stop telling everybody about NPS.
Yeah. They get kind of cranky because the parking lot fills up pretty quick and they're like, don't come in on our day.
Oh, they got 4 locations. They've got stores in Layton at 1150 North Main. They've got one in Orem at 475 North State. Yep. And they have 2 in Salt Lake, the industrial that you were talking about, and then the retail grocery side at 1600 South Empire Road. Go to any of those 4 locations. You'll find awesome deals at NPS.
Do you hear that? If you're like many people, that's the sound of your money. Just lying there in a checking or savings account doing nothing when it could be out there earning more money for you. But at America First Credit Union, we can give your money a wake-up call.
What?
What's that? Rise and shine, Bucky. We can get your money working in a high-yield certificate account, earning you a much better return than traditional checking and savings. Up and at 'em, buddy. We gotta go.
Huh? Where are we going?
To America First. You'll love it there. They're going to help you do so much awesome stuff.
All right, I'm coming.
So get your money working with a high-yield certificate from America First. Head to americafirst.com today to check out the latest amazing rates. Subject to membership, eligibility, terms, conditions, and change. Federally insured by NCUA.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Salt Lake City will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 801-263-7777. That's 801-263-7777. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Amanda Dixon. First, we are on the scene of a large police presence just off the Bangerter Highway along the Bluffdale-Riverton border. Officials so far have not told us what is happening there. Second, Utahns say they feel less confident in their finances. Consumer confidence dropped 1.3% over the last month. And third, don't forget to turn your clocks forward 1 hour Saturday night as we head into daylight saving time. Right now, it's 28 degrees in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We're continuing talking about Salt Lake City's crackdown on those of you who are renting out your homes as nightly rentals, through Vrbo or through Airbnb, or maybe you've picked another website to list it on. The city is going to spend about 40, 50 grand or so buying a software program. We were reporting on it all morning long on KSL News Radio this morning, and the software program will sweep the internet. So right now they're doing it sort of 1970s style, where they have human eyeballs and, clicks to figure out if somebody has their property posted online, Dave. And the software program will figure all that out for them. So it'll speed that process, and they'll figure out who is doing this illegally, because you can't do it right now in Salt Lake City at all, from what we understand. A lot of cities don't allow it.
How much does it cost?
The program is
the
about,
program.
My read of it is about, they allocated about $40,000 or so for it, maybe 50 grand.
They've allocated $40,000 to $50,000 probably to buy this software. It tracks you. I have such a problem with this in general, because if I own a home and I want to run a business, we can absolutely rent out our home. We don't need any special permission for that. I could rent out my home right now for a year or 2 or 5 years, long term.
Yeah.
How's it any different if I rent it out for 6 months or 3 months or 1 month or 1 day?
Because you're treating it like a hotel. People are coming and going all hours of the night. They're there to vacation. Maybe they're to party. You don't have enough parking for this, 17 guests they're going to have with them, and they're there to party and have fun. And it's a lot different than you have a tenant in there who's living there and working there. Just a different environment.
They absolutely have parties and have fun for long-term tenants, just like you and I do. We have parties. We get noisy. Sometimes we blast our music too loud.
But every week you have a new group of partiers.
You've done this, though. You've done
Airbnb.
No. You've rented a VRBO, or I keep saying VRBO. It will always be VRBO to me, folks. I know it's Vrbo. Airbnb. We've done this. We're boring. We are the most boring family ever. We are less intrusive than a family for sure.
But I've also called my city years ago to ask if I could do this. It wasn't Salt Lake City. It was another city in Salt Lake County. Ask if I could do a nightly rental. Right? I live by a canyon.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
That's perfect.
Perfect. And they said, no, we don't allow that. And you know what I did? I complied.
Which is not usually what people do.
Oh, I don't break the law.
Most people, I think you have some interesting statistics in New York, because New York is really trying to crack down on this. How many people were using? There were like 22,000?
Yeah, thousands in New York who were doing this.
And then how many were registered? How many had gone through? I think you said 800. So of the 22,000, there were doing
They had a little more than
Airbnb?
800 licensed legally. So there's a path in New York. There isn't a path here to do this legally. In New York, there is a path set up in the city. They had 800 licensed, but nearly 22,000 Airbnb only short-term rentals listed in New York City, and that's according to State Line, which is it's an article they posted online just a few months ago. So yeah, a lot of folks were doing it illegally.
So what the program has done, and New York City has basically shut down, and Airbnb has had to remove thousands of listings. In fact, they are canceling reservations. They're refunding money. This is a nightmare for Airbnb.
So what New York City has done is they passed an ordinance, and it's already been tested in court, and they passed it a couple of years ago, and they have implemented a program with Airbnb and other short-term rental companies where they flag listings that aren't properly registered with the city. So they flag listings, and if somebody does rent the place out illegally, Airbnb stops the payment and will refund the person who rented the place for a couple of nights. So they're working now in concert together to stop this from happening over and over and over again. And ultimately, what it will probably do is force the sale of some of these nightly rentals, because that's exactly why they bought them, or what they were being used for is nightly rentals. And so the owners are going to say, let's just get them out there on the market and sell them. And then that increases the supply.
We have a very odd relationship with Airbnb right now because we've all used it. We've all chosen to do an Airbnb instead of a hotel room. And we're totally fine with that when it benefits us. When we're trying to take a trip to Las Vegas and we don't want to stay in a casino, we love that aspect of it. But as soon as our neighbor wants to make a buck off of it, now we're cracking down.
Let's get to some breaking news right now. You've heard Adam Small all morning long and our KSL news radio team reporting out in the area of, I believe it is, Michelle, can we confirm where this is actually going on? Because I'm just having a little bit of confusion about the actual city of where this is happening. But we do have an officer-involved shooting on the west side of Salt Lake County that has now been confirmed by our news team. We're reporting that a suspect is deceased, and then there's officers from 3 different agencies involved in this situation out there. And here we go. It's 138 South between 22nd and about 1900 West. So just south of Bangor. We've got KSL News Radio's Adam Small on the scene. Dave, are you seeing the same alert that I'm seeing right now? It says it's in a neighborhood. Adam Small is there. And he was waiting for confirmation, and now we've just reported that this is an officer-involved shooting.
And the suspect is dead.
Is deceased, yeah. Adam Small is standing by live right now, and he'll be filing a live report during at the top of the hour here. But we've been out there since earlier this morning, probably about 8:30. We got word of a pretty major incident out there at about Bangor and 138 South between 22nd and 1900 West, and we have now confirmed that that is an officer-involved shooting. More in seconds from KSL News Radio's Adam Small, who is live on the scene.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
KSL News Radio, I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. One man has died in an officer-involved critical incident near Bangor Highway at the Riverton-Bluffdale border this morning. KSL News Radio's Adam Small is live on the scene with more on this story. Adam? We'll have to get back to Adam in just a moment. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Biden and his campaign staff are happy with the reaction to last night's State of the Union address. ABC's Karen Travers has more.
The White House is very happy with how that speech went last night. One official told our Molly Nagel simply, home run. The president was feisty. He was fired up. He came there to show Americans who are concerned about his ability to serve another term in office that he has the stamina and the energy to do that.
That's ABC's Karen Travers. Your money at this moment. The Dow Jones average right now up on the day, about 69 points. The NASDAQ, though, is down. Let's check in again now with KSL News Radio's. We'll have to check in again with KSL News Radio's Adam Small on this officer-involved critical incident that occurred at the Bangor Highway near the Riverton and Bluffdale border. Right now, let's KSL weather looks like a sunny weekend. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
is a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Let's check in now with KSL News Radio's Adam Small on this officer-involved critical incident happening in the Bluffdale area. And Adam, what's the story there?
Well, Dan, I'm in this neighborhood on 138 South between 22nd West and 1950 West. We've been here all morning trying to gather details, and we've just got them that this is indeed an officer-involved shooting. Riverton police spokesperson actually just talked to us a few minutes ago and told us that that officers from Sandy, Riverton, and Harriman police were loosely following the suspect of an alleged vehicle burglary. Somehow they ended up all the way out in this neighborhood, and at some point they say that the suspect presented a weapon and a threat. Shots were fired. The suspect is now dead on scene. Police have been here for hours trying to canvass the scene. We are still trying to gather more information, but when we do have that, we'll bring it to you live here on KSL News Radio. For now, at the scene, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
And traffic and weather is just ahead. KSL News Time, 10:03.
Want more speed? Well, you're in luck because Xfinity just increased their internet speeds and they're faster than ever. Plus, with super fast internet and a reliable connection, you can do more of what you love whenever you want. More gaming, more downloading, more video chatting, and more cozy nights on the couch streaming your favorite movies and TV shows. If life with more speed sounds pretty awesome, that's because it is. It's time to get more out of your internet with faster speeds from Xfinity. Get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet for only $25 a month for 12 months with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included. That's 50% more speed for the same great price. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and other charges extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Want more speed? Go to Xfinity.com, call or visit a store today.
American energy is under attack. Joe Biden has waged a war on American natural resources and made it harder to produce affordable, reliable, and clean energy right here in Utah. Our energy prices are already going up. Biden's policies will make it worse. But Republican John Curtis has our back. There is no greater supporter of unleashing American energy than John Curtis. John Curtis knows our abundant natural resources help keep us free and safe, powers our economy, keeps the lights on, and keeps Utah on the move. John Curtis is Utah tough. He's taken the fight to Joe Biden and the Washington politicians who all want to hurt American energy. And now we need a conservative to take the fight to the United States Senate. We need Republican John Curtis, a strong defender of American energy dominance in the fight for us.
Paid for by Clear Path Action Fund. Not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee.
Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. Listen, we're fiduciaries. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. Now, imagine how that would be if you could actually retire 3 to 5 years sooner than your plan was. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan, taking into consideration any rental properties that you have, any pension income that you have, your Social Security. Listen, we put that all together for you in writing. It will allow us to...
anyhourservices.com.
Traffic and weather together now, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Heather Kelly.
Well, crews are in the final cleanup stages of a crash in West Jordan. This is at the intersection of 7800 South Redwood Road. Tow truck is on scene. They're just getting one of the vehicles up on that tow truck. So still blocking a lane of travel heading north and southbound. But other than that, you're going to have good speeds throughout most of the Salt Lake Valley and across the Wasatch Front. So just make sure you're paying close attention to everybody next to you. Join Weber State University March 15th for a celebration of Indigenous culture and heritage, featuring Native American and classical musician, dancers, and more poets weaving harmony on stage. Tickets at weber.edu/Browning Presents. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Our KSL weather, sunny and warm through the weekend with a high of 60 on Sunday. A few small storms move in early next week. Right now, 30 traffic and weather station 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 weather station.
New year, new KSL movie show. Now you can listen when you're running errands at lunch. This is Andy Farnsworth, and I'm joined by Steve Sales for all the week's biggest movies and shows, 11 to 1 on KSL News Radio.
It's finally Friday, and this is Dave and Dujanovic. Conversation and insights on the stories Utahns care about most. It's Friday on KSL News Radio.
So let's go right on the money.
Right on the money. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
And we've seen your texts. We've gotten your emails. You text the show. You email us to complain about the increase in your auto insurance premiums. And we have been covering it here at KSL News Radio. Here's one of our reports from January.
Price of car insurance nationally has gone up over 20%, and there are a few reasons why. I'm KSL News Radio's Emma Keddington.
And then came this report in February.
CBS News reports that insurance companies are having to combat inflation. Cars are more expensive now, so naturally the cost to repair or replace them has skyrocketed. Additionally, there's a national mechanic shortage, so repairs are taking longer and becoming more expensive.
Now it's March. And we've got another little nugget. KSL TV investigative team explains why in some cases annual premiums have doubled.
Matt Gephardt live on the line. You're getting the same complaints we're getting. We're all getting the same complaints because we all work at KSL. Hi, Matt.
Good morning. Yeah, we're all getting the same complaints because we all work at KSL, and we also all have cars, and we're all shaking our fists in the air going, what the heck happened?
Yeah, so what did you find? I saw your story at ksltv.com, and you featured a woman whose premiums had gone from about $700 a year to almost double.
Yeah, it was a St. George woman, and as you've reported and as we've reported, it's the national averages are in like the 20% range, but we're hearing in Utah specifically more than that. So what's going on with Utah specifically? We started sort of looking into, and we found two things to be true, and both of these are true on the national level, but also Utah specific. And one of those things is that I don't think has been talked about a lot is, do you remember in 2021 when all the insurance companies, nobody was driving, and so nobody's getting into crashes, and people who do miss a lane aren't crashing into other cars, and all of a sudden these insurance companies had way overcharged us, and they actually started sending us checks back. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Wait a minute, hold on.
They weren't big checks, but there's a little bit.
Wow. Okay. Maybe I was just paying so little anyway.
Most of us got checks. Some of us stole Debbie's checks. But so this is in a lot of ways a return to normal. So insurance tends to be they try to be a predicting indicator, but they tend to be sometimes a lagging indicator in that. Predicting meaning they try to predict what insurance is going to do, what's going to happen next year, but sometimes they lag. And COVID threw everything out of whack. And I know we've gotten kind of past the point of talking about getting back to a quote unquote new normal after COVID, but here we are. A lot of this is getting back to the point where insurance companies are having to basically replenish their coffers after having done this in conjunction with all of those other things like the supply chain shortages and having to pay longer for rental cars. And then the other thing we found specific to Utah and kind of the West is they've gotten stingier on those little claims. So you think about insurance, you think about, running your car off the road and getting totaled or whatever. Rock chips, though. How many times have we gotten rock chips specifically here in Utah, right? We've all reported on that a gazillion times.
Mm-hmm.
So that tends to so many of us have been, when you need a new windshield, you go get a new insurance claim, and windshields, glass has become, just like everything else, more expensive. And so in this area, those are specific things. And then also the fire danger here in Utah. We've reported on this specifically affects houses a lot, but also the fire danger here in Utah that does impact cars. And when, there's a massive fire in the west and it burns out an entire neighborhood, maybe you flee in one car, but that other car's stuck and it burns out. All of these things in conjunction with just inflation in general is why here in Utah and here in the west, we are getting kicked particularly hard in the teeth.
Matt, I was wondering about the regionality of all of this because we live in a pretty boring part of the country. We're not dealing with
Charles Barkley. Easy.
I'm jinxing the heck out of it. I absolutely am, but I mean, we're not Florida. We're not in hurricane season. We're not in tornado alley. We really don't have these things, and even when we do have wildfires, it's not as widespread, and it doesn't hit us and hit our communities like some other places. Are we paying for those other insurance claims, even though we live in a super boring area?
No question about it. No question about it, right? I mean, Allstate doesn't advertise during the Super Bowl because they only do business here in the state of Utah, right? So yeah, with these insurance companies, they have national coffers, and when there are things. So yes, we have certain natural disaster type hazards and other issues here in Utah, and they also have certain things going on, as you said, Florida and kind of the southeast part of the country. So, but yes, absolutely. At some point, these insurance companies all have to make their bottom lines, and that's what they're doing.
Matt, in the final 60 seconds, I was looking up some solutions for our listeners, and I know you always have some great solutions. I wanted to bounce this off of you, and I think one of these solutions we often talk about is, see if you can up your deductible so you save some money off of your auto insurance premiums. Sometimes newer vehicles, because of all of the fancy safety things they have on them, might be a little less expensive than you think, or shop around for different insurance premiums. But here's one I found. What do you think of this? And this is from NerdWallet. Pay per mile insurance. Is it is it a good idea? And what I found is that you pay a base fee. So it's like $50 or something for the base fee per month, and then they tack on between 2 cents and 10 cents per mile, kind of depending on your coverage. And so if you work from home or you have a second car, you take, public transit all the time. What do you think of that?
So I've done a report on this very subject, and it could work for you and it could work against you. And I know we don't have a ton of time to break that all down, but it can be a burden the way leasing a car can be a burden, where you really got to pay attention to the miles. But yes, if you are somebody who works from home, if you used to have to go to the office and you're now working from home and you're really not taking your car very often, if you're a college student who is basically just parking your car up at the dorm or whatever, there are absolutely ways that can work and pay off for you.
Matt Gephardt, thank you. As always, such good information.
Yeah, you can find more of Matt's report at KSLTV.com. Of course, he's always on the air at KSL5 as well. He's part of the investigative team here at KSL5 Television. You know what? I watched the State of the Union address. I listened to a lot of it on KSL News Radio. Then I flipped on the television. I saw him. There he was.
Who?
It's a witch hunt because it makes no sense that in
no
4
way
months,
did this guy show up again.
He's been expelled from Congress. He's facing all kinds of indictments, and then the news gets even worse. You're not going to believe what I woke up to this morning. It just set it set me off. I'm like, oh, he's back. George Santos.
I got to know who invited this guy. How is he somebody's plus one?
It's worse than being at the State of the Union. He's back. Next.
Finally, Friday with Dave and Dujanovic.
Looking for a secure retirement plan without market risk? Look no further. Lyle Boss, president of Boss Financial, specializes in no market risk retirement strategies with guarantees of principal, guaranteed growth, and lifelong income. Join Lyle right here each Saturday and Sunday for his Safe Money radio show, and call him now at 855-355-SAFE for your complimentary customized Safe Money information kit and Safe Money book. Nothing but upside here at 855-355-SAFE.
The winners. Best Documentary, Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon, starring on Utah's Morning News from 5 to 9.
Best Duo Performance. Dave Noriega and Debbie Dujanovic from 9 to noon. Best Original Monologue. Boyd Matheson, host of Inside Sources from 1 to 3. And Best 1 Minute Screenplay. Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News, weekdays from 3 to 7. Now starring on a smart speaker near you. Just ask Alexa. Play KSL News Radio.
It's the movie show, guys. We're broadcasting live today from the Salt Lake Home and Garden Show with our friends from Advanced Window Products. And I actually toured their facility, Steve, earlier this week. So first time I'd been there. And this is what makes Advanced Windows so unique because they're not a dealer.
Okay.
They're all of it. They're the manufacturer, they're their own distributor, and they're their own salespeople.
Okay.
So when you have to make a big purchase like replacing windows, because usually you don't just like, oh, I've got a crack in my window, I'm going to replace a window. Usually you're going to do a bunch.
That's true. I have at least 8 windows that I need because my house was built in the 50s, and I still have some of that aluminum, railing window crap, which does nothing when it's cold. I mean, literally comes flying in.
And so, you know what? We've got Jake here, too. He's just joining us. Jake, grab a headset. We were just talking about how when you do window purchases, you usually don't just like fix one little crack in a window. This is something you wait for, and when you do it, you got to do it right.
Yeah, a lot of people, that's the key with all of it is just giving us a call and getting one of our specialists out to your home because every situation is a little unique. You'll have windows that are cracked. Sometimes you just need to replace the glass. Other times it's the full window. You've got a seal failure. There's moisture between the panes. And so that's at that point in time, it's the entire window has gone bad. And so really the key to all of it is just giving us a call and letting us come out to your home, doing an audit of your windows, and letting you know how we can help you, whether it's replacing the glass or replacing the entire window.
Now, one of the cool things about the movie show is that our awesome sponsors usually have a cool deal that's better than usual.
Yes.
For the movie show listeners and KSI. And so when we said, okay, if we're going to have Advanced Windows, they need to give our listeners an even better deal than usual. Are you ready to do that?
Ready to do that. So what is typically played like on air is $2,500 off 10 or more windows. Because we're the manufacturer, when there's volume, we're able to give you a better price. Because we're on with you today, we're going to say $3,000 off 10 or more windows. So an additional $500 if they call and get on the schedule today.
All right, what's the number they need to call?
So it's 801-850-9100.
801-850-9100.
Correct.
Okay, be the first to get on that schedule. And 850-9100? Okay, I want to write that down so I make sure I know it.
Yeah.
All right, that is Advanced Window Products. Or go to it. You could also go to advancedwindows.com.
Yep, advancedwindows.com. You can check us out there. But again, 801-850-9100. That will give you $3,000 off 10 or more windows if you call and get on the schedule today.
Would you like to be part of an important research study and receive up to $550? The Beehive study at the University of Utah is comparing how well 2 different FDA-authorized booster vaccines protect people against COVID-19. You can decide to get a booster or not and still participate. By joining the Beehive study, you'll have the chance to receive up to $550 for completing activities such as weekly COVID tests and brief surveys about your health. Call 801-203-0320 or email beehivestudy@utah.edu to learn more. You can also visit the study website at www.beehivestudy.com.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, a man was killed this morning in an officer-involved incident near Bangerter Highway and about 20th West. Officers from several different agencies were involved. Second, using credit card records to track gun purchases would be illegal under a bill now on the governor's desk. Third, President Biden's campaign staff is calling last night's State of the Union address a home run. Right now, 32 degrees, partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Remember this guy?
It's a witch hunt. Because it makes no sense that in 4 months, 5 months, I'm indicted.
That's Representative George Santos. Well, I should say then Representative George Santos whining over the indictment that he illegally used campaign funds for things like Botox. Expensive Botox. Hey, George, it's $8 a unit out here. Maybe 9 or 10, but yeah, expensive Botox. Make fancy car payments, credit cards.
An OnlyFans account. Don't forget that.
I forgot about that.
You forgot about the OnlyFans account.
And he was expelled from Congress because of that, and a lot of other things going on with this man. Like, we didn't even get into his resume lies, his bed of lies, at least his resume, where he tricked voters into electing him in Florida. Sorry, Florida. Didn't mean to insult you. New York.
New York, we can insult because they're the ones that did zero due diligence on this guy. And it's very important to point out, okay, there was a whole bunch of lies before, like during the campaign, where he worked, where he went to school. He's like, oh yeah, Goldman Sachs. That's that they hired me. I'm super smart and rich, and I'm an investor. Oh, that wasn't true. I went to NYU.
Nope.
Oh, didn't do that either. He lied about his high school.
Nope.
Like, who lies about their high school? None of those things were illegal. They were just big fat lies. That's fine. But then there was another layer of, the indictments that came out, criminality that has been alleged, that is fraud. Like where he was setting up accounts and using campaign finances, as you said, for all these illegal things. And that's what got him in real trouble.
The thing that got me so wound up last night when I was watching the State of the Union, there's two things. First of all, why was he there? Why was he back? He's back. I'm like, oh, no. That can't. And then I woke up this morning and I read this headline. George Santos announces he's running for Congress again. I'm like, is this a joke? He has no shame. That was the headline on CNN this morning. It was bad enough he was there again. He just did not belong there, but apparently...
Who was his...
Gaetz was his
That was the
escort.
plus one? So Matt Gaetz, representative out of Florida, said, you know what? You know who I'm going to invite? The New York guy.
I thought we had, George Santos was doing a pretty good job with his newfound career, sending cameos to people. Even like for $250, you could tap into this app and you could get him to send a cameo to somebody who's like having a birthday, or who would want that? But apparently, he was busy after he got expelled from Congress doing this kind of stuff.
The haters are going to hate. Look, they can boot me out of Congress, but they can't take away my good humor or my larger-than-life personality.
If somebody sent me that, I'd unfriend them.
That's all I want to do right now.
So let's go through this article here, because I thought, we have talked so much about this guy. I was hoping the next time we talk about him was when he was, getting his prison sentence. But that case is going to take a minute or more to wind through the courts. But here's what the article is after he announces he's running for Congress again. I think he announced this on social media. Yeah, he puts it on X.
Yep, X.
Tonight I want to announce that I'll be returning to the arena of politics and challenging Nick. It was Nick.
Nick LaLota. He's the GOP candidate. And now he's going to try to primary him.
There's more about Nick here in just a second. For the battle over #NY1. So I look forward to debating him on the issues and on his weak record as a Republican. And then he says the fight for our majority is the imperative for the survival of this country. You know what this guy is really good at? And you just read right through it. He's making everything ours and us. No, you're done. You've been expelled. They found you out. It's not all yours and it's not all ours and us anymore. And he wants to make it sound like he's fighting for, his base. What base? They don't want to have anything to do with you.
And they'll have a chance to send that message. I have no problem. As much as I dislike this guy and I would never vote for him, obviously he's completely untrustworthy in my book. Probably everybody's book. Completely untrustworthy. Great. Do it. Put your name out there. Get smacked down. And if New York Republicans are dumb enough to bring this guy and put him on the general ballot again, they have no one to blame but themselves.
Well, maybe he has a support of Representative Gaetz since he was his plus one. at the State of the Union last night. And that's when he makes the announcement. The guy has no shame. Like, read the temperature of the room. You shouldn't even be there. It's like Senator Mitt Romney lost his, I just absolutely lost his mind over the fact that the guy was there last year. And I cheered Senator Romney for that. He called him a sick puppy. Shouldn't be there. Didn't deserve to be there. And he's like, he's back. Ugh. I was really proud of Senator Romney for not reacting to that. He's done now. He's done now. So he makes his announcement during the State of the Union, and I just, he has absolutely no shame. Read the temperature of the room. It's not your moment. And then Lolota, who he's running against, strikes back, and I love what he said, because he's like, I'm not giving up. Whatever, basically whatever. So he says, to raise the standard in Congress and to hold a pathological liar who stole an election accountable, I led the charge to expel George Santos. If finishing the job requires beating him in a primary, count me in. And when Lolota introduced that resolution to expel Santos from Congress, remember what he said? He said Santos deserves to be in prison. Standing ovation.
It's
Call
just
him out.
so shocking to me that this guy thinks he has any political future whatsoever.
He thinks he's Trump.
It's a circus.
Dave, I think he thinks he's Trump, and you've said it to me so many times. I think you've even said it on the air. Trump is a unicorn. Yeah. Never in the history of the nation have we looked at somebody with 90 plus, indictments facing and 455 million, actually probably 500 million he owes in the next couple of weeks to a woman that, he was found guilty in that case with E. Jean Carroll. He owes her that money. And then he owes the citizens of New York over $400 million for the fraud.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that feel like that is persecuting Trump because he's a politician.
But what I'm
so
saying
they
is
don't,
Santos does
they
not
don't
fit
view
into
it
that
the same.
category. Santos does not fit into that category. He's running around allegedly getting Botox.
Yeah, but
with
this
donors'
is
money.
They've got to prove that, and so far he hasn't been held accountable. There's still allegations, and he's gonna ride that horse as far and as long as he can. And if they end up dropping the charges for whatever, count him in to play the poor me card. He will play that over and over and over again.
I think there's a look at this guy. He's just looking for a way to get a salary, a pretty good annual salary compared to what he was really living on before. Even because those claims were false too. That he was making all this money and he owned all these rental properties. He was living with his sister. They couldn't prove that they couldn't show that he owned any rental properties. I think he's just looking for a way to get a regular paycheck and get a pension for the rest of his ever-loving life. That's my personal view of this guy. But guess what? Then, unfortunately, we're going to have to keep talking about this guy, and we'll see where the court case goes.
To me, it feels narcissistic, can't be out of the limelight, loved it when he had it, and now he doesn't. It's eating him alive.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. One person is dead following an officer-involved shooting in a neighborhood on the Riverton-Bluffdale border. Riverton Police spokesperson Josh Lee says officers from several agencies began following the suspect in an alleged vehicle burglary in Sandy before they arrived at 138th South, just south of Bangerter Highway.
The suspect presented a weapon and a threat, and there were shots fired. The suspect is now deceased, and next of kin is being notified.
It's still not clear how many shots were fired or how many officers were involved, but we do know they were with the Sandy, Riverton, and Harriman police departments. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Biden administration and officials in Europe say they plan to begin delivering humanitarian aid to Gaza by sea. ABC's Tom Sufi-Burridge reports from Tel Aviv.
The EU says that shipments of aid will begin as early as this weekend. They'll go from Cyprus to the west of Gaza onto the Gaza coastline. And actually a test shipment could be happening today, Friday.
Aid trucks have been held up at the Gaza border with Egypt and in Israel for weeks. your money at this moment. The Dow Jones average up on the day 104 points, while the NASDAQ is down 47. And our KSL weather looks like a sunny weekend ahead. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
News doesn't just mean information or dates.
It's the story of our local history being told in real time.
Be a part of the story. This is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
We hope to be a part of your story. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Now, during Staples Print Big Sale, get $20 off your print purchase of $100 or more, $50 off your print purchase of $200 or more, and $100 off your print purchase of $300 or more. So the more you print at Staples, the more you save. To demonstrate, print at Staples, you save. But if you print at Staples, you save. See how that works? Staples Print Big Sale. Print more, save more. Up to $100. Ends 4/6. Visit staples.com/print for details.
It's the movie show, guys, and we're at the Salt Lake Home and Garden Show. Now, those doors don't open for a little bit, but they will a little bit later on. But we're here with Jake from Advanced Window Products. Jake, you told us a little bit about how you guys can offer some unique deals for movie show listeners. We get an extra $500. We'll talk about that in a sec. But
that's right.
Why? What makes you guys unique?
You know, there's a lot of window companies out there. People that are going door to door, knocking on your door. There are companies that are advertising out there similar to us.
Yeah.
You have them come to your house. You'll see a bunch in like the home magazines, the mailers, and they all have their unique offerings. Most of them are dealers, I should say. What sets us apart is that we are the manufacturer. And so because of that, we're able to give our customers a better price on a better window because we cut out the middleman. So when you buy windows through us or you have one of our specialists come out to your home and have them do an audit of your current windows, we'll be able to give you an idea of the price right there on the spot and then give you a better price because if you buy the windows from us, we will take those measurements back to our shop and we manufacture the windows right there and then we'll get them installed. And then you have a lifetime warranty. And so you're cutting out the middleman, you're getting a better price, and you have a lifetime warranty.
One of the things you told me, too, when we were talking was for builders, a lot of times where they try to save their money so that they can put it into different parts of the home is to go with the less expensive, less high-quality window.
Yeah.
And so, you're only a few years into your home, and suddenly you're like, wait, do my windows really need to be replaced? They might.
Yeah, there's a lot of homes that we're replacing windows are 5 to 10 years old, which is a little disturbing. It's because these builders put in a window that is extremely inexpensive, which is a cheap window
and it
with
makes
cheap
sense.
glass.
You want to have a nicer kitchen or something like that.
Yeah, because that's what you notice. A window to most people is a window. For us, we take a lot of pride in putting a high-quality product in your home and something that we can stand behind for the life of that product.
So let's get so you guys have a deal for movie show listeners, 10 windows or more.
Yep.
If you do this and call today.
Yeah.
What's the number?
So it's 801-850-9100. Again, 801-850-9100. You call, get on the schedule, have one of our specialists come out to your house, and we're going to give you $3,000 off 10 or more windows.
Now, that's an incredible deal for movie show listeners with Advanced Window Products.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Heather Kelly.
We've got a little bit of delay for anybody trying to get into Parley's Canyon from the Salt Lake Valley right now. Eastbound I-80, we've got some semi-trucks parked on the right shoulder just as you come around from Foothill Drive trying to get into the canyon. So that's slowing everybody down just a little bit around that curve. But other than that, you're going to have good speeds anywhere you're trying to get to around the Wasatch Front and back this morning. Common Spirit, hospitals, clinics, and caregivers, all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Our KSL weather, sunny and warm through the weekend with a high of 60 on Sunday. A few small storms will move in early next week. Right now, 34 degrees, partly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
We've had an officer-involved shooting on the south end of Salt Lake County this morning, and that's where our very own Adam Small is standing by live. He wants to get us the latest information. Hi, Adam. What do you know about the situation?
Hey, Debbie. So I'm at this neighborhood. It's a very small strip of houses on 138 South between 22nd West and 1950 West, right on the Riverton-Bluffdale border right on the cusp of Bangor Highway. What police have just told us not long ago is that there was an officer-involved shooting here this morning. They say officers from Sandy, Riverton, and Harriman police departments were following a suspect of an alleged vehicle burglary that started in Sandy. They say the suspect drove to this neighborhood where they believed that the person was going back to their house. At some point, officers say that the suspect presented a weapon and a threat, and that's when shots were fired. We still don't know how many were fired, how many officers fired their guns, or how many may be put on leave for firing their weapons or anything like that. But we do know that the suspect is dead on scene and that they're going to have this section closed for investigation for quite some time.
Adam, did it sound like when police were following this individual that it was a following, or was this a chase into the neighborhood?
So what they've been telling us, Dave, is that this was more of a loose follow. Now, they did tell us at some point they did break out spike strips on the suspect's vehicle. So I don't know if maybe it escalated into a chase, but so far they've just saying it at least started as a loose follow.
Adam Small live on the scene. He's at about 138 South between 22nd and about 1900 West. Just south of Bangor on the south edge of Salt Lake County, officer-involved shooting. We got word of an incident of some type happening out in that area. So he, of course, went right to the scene, was held back for quite some time because of the situation, of course. And now we've learned that there's been an officer-involved shooting. A suspect is dead. And remind us, Adam, that we understand that the suspect is deceased. Any officers injured that you're aware of?
Not that we're aware of, thankfully, but we do know that officers from 3 different agencies, again, Sandy, Riverton, Harriman police departments, are said were involved at this point because it is an officer-involved shooting. And it's per protocol. The Salt Lake City Police Department is now spearheading the investigation.
And to be clear, Adam, it sounds like the shooting took place in a neighborhood.
Yeah, so this small little strip of houses down this little road, I mean, there's maybe 5 houses down this road, and it looks like it happened right in the middle of this little strip of these few houses in between there and this noise wall blocking people from Bangor Highway.
Adam Small, thank you. We will continue to check back with you throughout the afternoon as we learn more about this officer-involved shooting in the Riverton Bluffdale area.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top national story.
Well, President Biden wrapped up his campaign speech last night. All right, that joke didn't land again. It was State of the Union address, but it sure sounded like a campaign speech because he kept going after former President Trump.
Now my predecessor, a former Republican president, tells Putin, quote, "Do whatever the hell you want." That's a quote.
The State of the Union address, this is what I am looking for. This is what I want to hear. I want to hear what your vision of the future is. Lay out your vision. Tell me your plans. How are you going to make it work? What it has devolved into is bragging about all of your accomplishments, patting yourself on the back. And this is not just unique to President Biden. This is what it has evolved into. They're dislocating their shoulder trying to pat themselves on the back. So it's turned into bragging and combativeness. They're constantly poking the opposing party. They're getting in fights. They're now referencing the hecklers in the gallery. What? Why? Why are we doing this? This is all, as Boyd likes to quote Ben Sass, the performative jackassery that we're getting used to.
I rewrote the top of his speech, but this is how he started it, and this is where I sat down and thought, oh my goodness, stop. Just stop. Don't try to tell a joke out of the gates.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
Good evening. If I were smart, I'd go home now.
I don't mind when the president comes out and touts their record. I want to actually feel better about the economy and the situation that we're in as Americans. That speech did not make me feel better. So I rewrote it like this. If I had any input at all in the president's opening lines of the State of the Union, I would have come out. I would have gotten to the podium much faster. I know he said a lot of hellos and hugs for those he's known for years, but this is about the American people. Yes, it is a State of the Union address to Congress. Yes, it is a constitutional, if you will, obligation. But this is about the American people. And I would have said, ladies and gentlemen, the stock market is at an all-time high. Your 401ks are up. Gas prices are down. And with Congress, I pledge to work together so all Americans who are of the ripe age that I am know that your Social Security is secure for now and evermore. We have a lot of work to do with housing and getting families into their first-time homes. I have a plan for that, and I will pledge to work together with a bipartisan committee in Congress to make that happen, where there are tax credits for families buying for the first time and tax credits for families who finally sell their homes so a new buyer can come and get it. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you see where I'm coming from. I want to feel uplifted. Don't start with a joke. Don't go right to the former president. We know the two of you are going to be on the campaign trail for the next 8 months, and we're going to be so sick and tired of hearing from both of you. Frankly, we already are. So at least give me something to make me feel good, because it is true that the stock market is doing well. I checked my 401k. It's doing a lot better than it was. Gas prices are down. In my neighborhood, yesterday they were $2.99 for the cheap stuff. So start with that. Give me some hope. But don't start with, the guy that you're going to be yelling at for the next 8 months on the campaign trail.
I don't need to hear about the last guy either. You've got 3.5 years of a record, of a vision that you're pushing forward. And we heard Trump's name. We did not hear Trump's name not once. It was always my predecessor. We heard that.
The man formerly known as President of the United States.
Yeah. Come on. What are we doing? Come on, man. What are we doing? No. 13 different times he referenced the guy that hasn't been in office for 4 years. I don't need to hear about him. Give me your vision, what you want to do. Stop talking about your ex.
Next, Andy and Steve are up. And then, of course, right after that, not after they're live with us, they're going to be broadcasting the movie show live from 11 to 1, as they do every Friday. Okay, the question of the week. Be thinking about this. What's your favorite Jack Black movie? You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Dave looks at me like, who's Jack Black?
Oh, I've got like 12.
It's finally Friday. With Dave and Dujanovic.
I remember talking to the owners and the operators of Renaissance Ranch, and I wanted to know, what got you into this? And Renaissance Ranch, helps people that are struggling with addiction. And they said, well, it's hit our family. Both my sons have gone through the recovery process, and we learned so much. And we learned some hard lessons. We learned some bad lessons. We learned some good lessons. And we wanted to provide that expertise to others.
I love this concept that you get at Renaissance Ranch, where they help the whole family. They have free, open to the public, family support services. So these are online classes. They're free. And if you have a family member who's dealing with addiction, and you feel like so many people feel when you have a family member dealing with addiction, that you're losing yourself. You're losing yourself in their addiction. You need to sign up for these classes. You can attend as many of these open classes as you want to.
Yeah, they're taught from a spousal perspective, a parental perspective, a lot of personal experiences as well. There's a women's support group, a couples recovery group. All you have to do is find these free online classes, again, open to the public, at renaissanceranch.com. Learn all you need to at renaissanceranch.com.
Hi friends, Dan the Laptop Man here from PC Laptops. I get a lot of emails with feedback from customers. Here's one. Dear Dan, I just had the best experience ever. I bought a computer from Shane at your State Street store. I asked several what I thought were really stupid questions. Shane was super courteous and made me feel comfortable through the whole process. People need to understand how important it is to support a local company, especially when your experience is so good. PC Laptops really does love me. Signed, Satisfied. I love hearing feedback like that. It really just gives me the chills. It's the whole reason why I got into the computer business in the first place. You can get a brand new PC Laptops desktop, and they start at only $29 a month. And it comes with a lifetime warranty. That means if anything goes wrong, we're going to take care of you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. That's PCLaptops.com. At PC Laptops, we really do love you.
Movie show guys, Andy Farnsworth and Steve Sales. We're at the Mountain America Expo Center right now, getting ready for the movie show to begin shortly at the Salt Lake Home and Garden Show, and we are at the nicest booth at the whole home show.
By far, right?
If
By
I
far.
have to say.
Usually the best-looking booth as well, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But what are we looking at?
It's you two that's what's making us
yeah.
good.
Now listen to this. Flattery will get you everywhere.
Okay.
So we're with Nate and Jake.
Discount.
We're with Nate and Jake from Advanced Windows, and we've talked about the windows. We've talked about how it's a big project. It's not typically just a cracked window that you're gonna go for a big replacement. You know, you can put some Scotch tape on that if you had to for a little bit. But at some point, whether it's because your windows aren't that great to begin with, and now it's time, or just over the years they've worn down, you've got energy leakage in your house. You're going to do the project. It's a project.
It's a project.
And so you got to go to the right place first of all.
Yeah, you're right. So looking at when replacing the windows, oftentimes if people will ask us how do I know I need to replace my windows? The biggest indicator is that cold draft. It's been cold. Like right now it's a little cold. I know we're getting warmer and spring is hitting. We're going to get to the warmer months. This is when we get our busiest because people remember the heat from summer and they remember that not only do they have the cold draft coming in the winter, but the heat coming in. They sit next to their window, and it's just like a sauna. And so by replacing those windows, we're able to help lower the temperatures in your house during the summer months, but also lower those energy bills. And the thing that's amazing about it is with our high-performance windows, you're able to essentially pay for your windows through the savings, your energy bill savings. It's an amazing thing that we have. And we're able to get rebates from Rocky Mountain Power and Dominion Energy, so up to $5.50 a foot. And so it's really, the key is just giving us a call and having one of our specialists come out to your house.
So let's give that number out right now, and we'll talk a little bit more.
Yeah.
But what the number we want to call is 801-850-9100. And then you guys have a special deal for movie show listeners right now that's better than what you've been advertising with us earlier in the day, because I read an ad earlier today for $2,500 off, 10 windows or more. But because you guys know that the movie show likes even better deals, what do you got for us?
That's right, and that's why we're here. So if you call today, you'll get $3,000 off when you buy 10 or more windows. And you got to act now, right? If you've had the thought of replacing the windows or even getting your windows assessed, give us a call. We'll have one of our specialists come out to your home and personally walk you through our products from, our glass that's argon filled, the low E coatings, and then obviously the vinyl itself that's high performing.
All right, so 801-850-9100. Get on that list. We'll talk with you guys some more as we get the movie show started.
Fantastic.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, a man died in a confrontation with police this morning near the Bangor Highway, about 20th West. Police from 3 different agencies were involved. Second, aid shipments could begin arriving on the Mediterranean coast of Gaza as soon as today. Third, Utah's governor has a bill on his desk that would make it illegal to track gun purchases with credit card records. Right now, 34 degrees, partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. The following preview has been rated G and is appropriate for all audiences.
Andy and Steve are standing by, and they're going to give us a sneak peek at what's coming up this week on the movie show. And really today, it's all about this man. That's Jack Black.
I can't get enough Jack Black. If Jack Black doesn't sing in a movie, I'm not interested.
It's all over TikTok. That's how I saw it the first time. I was like, every time I see that video on TikTok, I sit there and I watch the whole thing. But up this week, Kung Fu Panda 4?
The most powerful shape-shifting sorceress, the chameleon. How do I find the chameleon?
Jack Black in Kung Fu Panda 1, all time. Kung Fu Panda 2, it definitely a step below. Kung Fu Panda 3, terrible. So, Andy and Steve, how confident, how good were you feeling about Kung Fu Panda 4?
Okay, so I disagree with you about 2 and 3 being a huge step down from 1 because I actually was impressed with each one that they managed to have an interesting story for a kids animated series that kind of helped build on the legend. And that's where we'll get into it, but that's where I think Kung Fu Panda 4. I don't think you're going to like Kung Fu Panda 4 at all. If you thought 2 and 3 were a step down, then you're not going to like 4.
But they did save some money because the Furious 5 are on assignment. How does that work?
That
all
just means
5 of them?
They don't show up to say
no
any
Angelina
lines.
Jolie, no Jackie Chan, no, just
no
everybody's
Rogen,
out.
no
David
Lucy
Cross.
Liu, David Cross. Yeah, they saved some money. So there's that.
We're going to talk about favorite Jack Black movies in just a second.
By the way,
guys.
that what you were hearing was during the closing credits of Kung Fu Panda 4. He sings
I wondered.
"Hit Me, Baby, One More Time" during the closing credits. That might have been what they had to do to get Kung Fu Panda 4 made was to allow him and Tenacious D to sing that.
It's amazing. It's so fun. It's so fun. But I love him. I absolutely have always liked him on the big screen. He's a funny guy. And you guys were asking this question about what's my favorite, or what's Dave's favorite, my favorite Jack Black movie.
Yeah, that's our
of all
text
time.
question of the day for 57500. What's your favorite Jack Black movie? Because there's a lot to choose from. I'm curious as to which one are your guys' favorites.
Dave?
Okay, you're going to think this is some recency bias, which it is. So this is not what it is.
Peaches, 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 peaches. Oh, yeah.
No, Bowser doesn't make it. Bowser does not make it, even though that is all time. That he was incredible. Okay, I don't know. This isn't a deep cut for you two, for sure. But I think most people don't know this movie. It's one of my all-time favorite. Definitely my favorite Jack Black. Whoever knows what this is, go ahead and shout it out as soon as you recognize it.
I've been really trying, baby, to hold on to this feeling for so long.
Stumped.
Stop it.
Is it School of Rock?
Oh, one of my all-time favorites. The fact that I have something to offer you two.
What is it?
High Fidelity.
Oh,
that's right.
I love that
I
movie.
think of that as a John Cusack movie, but
Yeah.
it is a Jack Black movie.
He was
also
so good. He stole every scene in that movie. Every time he popped up, I was just absolutely blown away. That is my favorite Jack Black. It's kind of a hidden show. Not a lot of people know High Fidelity, but I loved it, and I loved him in it.
I've got 2 deep cut Jack Black movies that I really enjoy. One of them is Saving Silverman from 2000.
Oh, so funny.
Where he's a Neil Diamond fanatic. And then there's another one called Be Kind Rewind with Mos Def. And if you've never seen that, it is hilarious, and it's almost like It's a Wonderful Life, but set in modern time.
Huh.
How about you, Steve?
Well, School of Rock for me.
I love School of
You
Rock.
stole my thunder.
Oh, sorry.
I love School
I
of
thought
Rock.
you'd pick The Holiday.
I thought you'd go with Gulliver's Travels.
Oh,
Guys,
can we all forget
You guys
Gulliver's
are so
Travels?
mean to me. You know what?
No,
Steve-
Debbie. I thought you'd pick The Holiday because tons of people love The Holiday.
Yeah, School of Rock. This is a throwback. I didn't realize, you guys, that this was. This came out in 2003. I'm so
School of
behind.
Rock.
Yeah,
it's a 20-year-old movie.
Well,
now.
my kids were little then, and so I mean, it was what, fourth grade class kind of the thing where he lies to the administration about what he's doing, and he's forming a band, and it's just such a cute movie, and I just that's when I really started to pay attention to Jack Black. But Gustavo, your producer, picked this movie. Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
That's because that was the first movie he knew Jack
That's
Black
the only
was in,
movie he's
probably.
ever seen.
Right? So he picked that movie. But, yeah, I absolutely love it. So what else you guys got on tap coming up in about 2 minutes here?
Well, we've got two movies that talk about the immigrant experience that are both just amazing and completely different types of movies, completely different times and settings. And you'll see that the immigrant experience really in some ways hasn't changed for what they got to go through to get here, what they get treated like when they get there.
Yo Capitano is probably one of my – I had not seen this, and I'd seen all of the other Best Picture foreign language movies nominated. This one I hadn't seen, and it might now be my favorite.
It was – it'll bring a tear – it brought a tear to my eye watching it. But then we also have one called Cabrini, which is the newest one from Angel Studios by the director of the guy who did Sound of Freedom.
Right.
But this is about Sister Frances Cabrini from about 1889 to 1900 something, where she's trying to establish orphanage and a hospital for to try to service the Italian immigrants who were treated like garbage
in New
by
York.
the New Yorkers in the late 1800s.
Wow.
And just two different types of stories.
Tough lady.
Yep.
But yeah, and so we got that. Plus, we also have like a scary movie, a PG-13 scary movie.
Sounds good.
Yeah, PG-13 scary. I'm not sure those those two go together.
It
All
kind of
right, boys.
worked.
They kind of worked? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll look forward to the movie show coming up.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. A suspect is dead after an officer-involved shooting in a neighborhood on the Riverton-Bluffdale border just south of Bangerter Highway. Riverton Police spokesperson Josh Lee says this started when officers followed a suspect in an alleged vehicle burglary.
The alleged vehicle burglary started in Sandy, and then the officers pursued the suspect until he came here. They used a couple spikes, and we suspect that he was coming back to his house.
Lee says the suspect eventually showed a weapon and threatened police before shots were fired. Officers from 3 different agencies were involved. Salt Lake City Police Department is now leading that investigation. UDOT is urging drivers to plan some extra time to navigate around some construction on Bangerter Highway this weekend. There will be northbound delays on Bangerter at 9800 South all weekend long, and some traffic on 9800 South will be detoured. The next weekend, Bangerter will be fully closed overnight for the removal of a pedestrian bridge. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Add another to a list of airline issues that have come to light this week. ABC's Alex Stone reports.
Nobody was hurt, and apparently the pilots didn't even get a warning in the cockpit, but somehow an Alaska Airlines flight from Los Cabos arrived in Portland, Oregon with the Boeing 737's cargo door ajar. It happened on March 1st, but is just now becoming publicly known. Alaska Airlines telling reporters a forward cargo door was found to have been unsealed when the plane landed. Alex Stone, EBC News.
Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average right now, down on the day, 19 points. The NASDAQ down 161. And our KSL weather, looks like a sunny, beautiful weekend. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:02.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the nines, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
To thank you for 40 unforgettable years, Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs, like the XPS 13 Plus, powered by Intel Core processors, and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
When the weather warms up, it's like a stampede, except instead of dust stirred up by hundreds of hooves, it's a cascade of phone calls to Advanced Window Products. This is Jeff Kaplan. Soon as the sun shines and the snow's gone, people want new windows and frames from Utah's #1 custom window maker, and the wait for installation grows longer. But right now, you can get near the front of the line by calling for a quote and get $2,500 off when you purchase 10 windows or more. That's on top of the incredible savings for the highest quality double-pane windows and frames, any style, any color. See, at Advanced Window Products, they actually build the windows here in Utah, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. There's no middleman, and they can pass the savings on to you. They even offer buy now, pay later. So get in before the wait grows longer and get the $2,500 off. Get your new windows this spring. Make the call. Advanced Window Products, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. Or visit AdvancedWindowsUSA.com.
Only one type of burger. For every pallet. Fries are extra. Large in size. We've got the shakes. Going over the brim.
Hey, this is Chris from JCW's. Put a positive, delicious spin on your day at any one of our 5 locations. In Lehigh, American Fork, Provo, South Jordan, or Harriman. JCW's, quality and a lot of it.
Are you looking to get a COVID-19 booster to stay healthy this cold and flu season? If you join the Beehive study, you'll have the chance to receive up to $550 for getting a booster and completing weekly COVID tests and brief surveys about your health. Don't want to get a COVID-19 booster? That's okay too. You can still join the Beehive study and receive up to $550 for completing the weekly COVID tests and surveys. Help advance research at the University of Utah while taking care of yourself this season. Call 801-203-0320 or email beehivestudy@utah.edu to learn more. You can also visit the study website at beehivestudy.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to